Hello, and welcome back to my latest nightmare. The lawnmower. Okay. It's a lot easier for me to explain if I just show you. I now have this in so many pieces. I can't even remember how it all goes back together. So this flying off belt, the belts didn't help. This morning I tried to cut grass and every few minutes I'm putting the belt back on. So there's all the pulleys off. You know, I'm quite a way into it. And what I was trying to get to is this bracket. So the pulley wheel, that small one on top, that's what keeps flying the belt off. And it attaches to this. So when I'm trying to dig down inside there into the darkness, I notice that it's loose. Well, it is loose. It's loose because this bracket here should be fixed to there. Right, so that's fatigued off of there. That is not the only problem. While I'm digging into this mess, I notice this. Well, that don't look good. And then I check the other side, and I notice this. And that don't look good either. And by the time I've got into the workings and taken all the brackets and the many springs and supports and all the other, how they even worked out how they needed to do this, I don't know. Anyway, I've just got that bracket out and I'm noticing this is moving. Well, that shouldn't move. And then I'm noticing that the rear axle is no longer attached to anything. It was all kind of just about held in place by things that were just about hanging on. Not good. So, in order to fix this, I'm going to have to pull this rear axle back into place and weld all around that. Or take the axle off and weld on more brackets. And then I would have to do the same to this side. Then I would have to weld and strengthen that bracket and get all that back into place and hope that it all lines back up so that all the pulleys are in line. But if everything's fatigued that bad, and how much time and effort I've already put into this, it's a hard decision, and I'll tell you why. Because with all the grass cutting I have to do, I only actually have to do a little bit myself, and that does everything else. And it don't earn a lot. Yeah. Could this be the death of that? And if it is, it's the death of being able to earn an extra small amount by cutting grass, but it don't pay for what I can get for cutting grass. In houses where people don't live, it's such a small amount, it barely runs the cost of the mower and gives me a, well, cotton picker's pay, to be honest. Cup of coffee, I think. Did I have that cup of coffee? Well, I made it, but I put it down somewhere. Lost it, and it was the end of the jug anyway, so it was probably shit. So this is what I've decided. And I know a bit about wasting my time. White elephants. Throwing good money after bad. I'm going to give it one more go. I'm going to weld up this bracket. I'm going to weld up the chassis. Weld the axle back to the chassis best I can. Just give it loads in there. And that's the last time. And then after that, well, somebody else is going to have to think about how the cutting of the grass in all the empty houses, whether it's important, whether it ain't, and how it's funded, because I'm right at the end with this. I don't make nothing out of it, and I spend all my time fixing this mower. So we're going to weld up this bracket both sides. Now I'm taking the welder outside, we're going to weld up the axle, then we're going to try and reassemble it, and hopefully it'll work. I mean, I've had a few years out of it, but all the gardens, the roughness of it all, it just kills them. And that, I don't know how old that is. I don't know how old that was before the old man got hold of it, how many years he ragged it for. Then obviously it was left in the garage for dead. And I've used it for another 4 years now, and just, yeah, I'd almost say the battery and the belts outweighed the cost of the machine. It's the engine's still running. I put new blades on it 2 years ago, but you know, when I'm seeing fatigue like this through the metal, it's almost at the end. So here we go, we'll weld this up and see where we go from there. I've been promising myself a new welding mask for 20 years. If you put them in, it don't sound like crackling bacon. Why I should remember what crackling bacon sounds like, I don't know. Anywho, let's see what damage we can cause now. Right, so this is what I've decided to do. I've decided to weld extra support inside there to try and make up for the deficiency in the steel. I've welded the crack along the outside and the missing bit in there. I've managed to save both bolt holes and weld that in there. So we'll call that bit done, and now we'll go and see if we can set fire to the rest of it by welding up the axle. That's the fuse blown. Now, that's the axle welded up, and that's the bracket welded up. Now we just put it back together. We went to many hours later, and I'm starting to put this bracket back in that we strengthened. Well, I've got it in and I've got all the springs attached, and as you can see there, I'm hoping you can see, we've got the bubble straight between the lines for this bracket here. I've had to use a bit of gold spray on those because I've got no black. And the point I'm making there is, with this, so the point I'm making with this bracket that I've strengthened and welded is this pulley was what sat on there before, and it was this pulley that's responsible for the cable jumping off. Well, that's because it's bolted to this bracket, and it was at an angle and it was rubbing, and now I can see it's flat and smooth. So the next thing to do is bolt that in there and connect the spring up, and I think I'm 97% in the right direction. I set off this morning at 8:30 to get this, which I abandoned in the garden a few days ago out of frustration when it broke. It's now 5 o'clock. Took me nearly an hour just to get it back from across the road because of this damn thing and pushing it. And anyway, so I've had it completely to bits. I've welded, repaired, sprayed some gold, put it back together. Now at this point, I should test that to make sure not only does it go backwards and forwards like it should do, but I have actually repaired it, and that the belt's not going to jump off anymore. Anyway. And that's all I've got to say on the matter. Have a good day.